is not a moment to waste. You can't put off till tomorrow to open your heart to Jesus. And know that with 100% certainty that you will have a tomorrow to open your heart to Jesus. God lives in the present. Satan likes to hold us to the regrets of our past. He likes to have us worry about our future. Jesus wants to deal with us right now. Don't miss this opportunity, my dear friends, to allow Jesus to love you and to offer your life to him.
Well, I'm excited. We're headed up to the Fan the Fire Youth Rally up in York, PA, which is quite a drive, a 2-hour drive out to York, PA. But this event is a really cool event. It's like a mini Steubenville, like a one-day mini Steubenville, and it's run by a dear friend of mine, Scott Anthony, who just loves the Lord and loves the church. And what I love most about Scott Anthony is he's this great national Catholic speaker, and he just it is not his desire to impress anybody but God, and it's just so evident in the way he lives his life and the way he conducts his ministry. And I just love hanging out with Scott. He's one of those guys I could just hang out with all day. But I'm driving up with some of our team here, and we're going to go record some of Fan the Fire, and I'm also going to give a talk at Fan the Fire about having a personal relationship with God, and having that personal relationship with God in the context of the Catholic Eucharist, with the real presence of Jesus Christ in the Eucharist. So I'm really excited about that. I've got some great props that we'll share, including a baseball bat and a coat and a painting that I made that's just an awful painting. We'll find out how truthful these teens are, if they like my painting or not, and talk about how God reveals himself in the midst of the mess, and how God reveals himself in hidden ways with this painting, as we'll see. And yeah, I've got some other cool props as well, like a butcher's knife that will dull and sharpen, and just some good stuff to talk about how we could have a personal relationship with God, no matter how much of a mess our lives seem to be, and no matter how dull we feel our blade is, that God can always sharpen us and return us back to him, in the context of our own personal conversation with God, and in the context of the sacramental life, where God is most real to us because his grace is present to us, not just in an invisible way in our private prayer, but in a visible, tangible way. And I just love talking about that. I love talking about that personal relationship with God we have privately in an invisible way with God, but then also in a very public and visible way in the sacraments. And then the one thing I'm always praying about when I'm going to these retreats and giving talks like this at conferences and youth rallies or with adults is I always pray that ultimately I would just be a blessing to the people I'm going to share with. And I just leave room for the Holy Spirit to say what he wants to say, instead of being obsessed with the things that I want to say. And every single time I go and give a talk like this, God just brings things out of my heart and out of my mouth that I'm telling you, I've never even thought of before. And God just reveals himself. And I hear people say, oh, Dan, you're a great speaker. Some people say that. The honest truth is that whenever I'm a great speaker, it's really God who's the speaker, and I'm the listener, just like everybody else. And yeah, it's more like playing music than giving a talk, and you hear the song inside of you and you just want to let it out. And yeah, that's how a relationship with God affects you when you're giving talks. So I'm really excited. I'm excited about what God is going to do, and I really believe it's what God is going to do, because he just shows up when I give talks, and it's just a real blessing. And I know he's going to show up in the other speakers that are going to be at this conference as well. So I'm really excited to go hang out with Scott, hang out with all these cool teenagers, worship God with worship and praise music, and also in the context of the sacraments, and hear just some awesome national Catholic speakers who love the Lord and who love the Catholic Church.
Continue to worship in song. Don't just sing the words. Don't just read the words off the screen. Pray them. Talk to Jesus, who is right here before us. The same Jesus who was born a little baby, the same Jesus who walked this earth, the same Jesus who was a teenager, the same Jesus who did miracles and still does them today, the same Jesus who suffered and died out of love for you and me, the same Jesus who rose from the dead and conquered sin and death, that we can be with him for eternity, that same Jesus.
So I'll wait.